Secretary of State Marco Rubio has wrapped up his visit to Panama, where he toured the famous canal that handles up to 40% of the world's cargo traffic. He is urging the country's president to reduce Chinese influence over the canal, or, quote, something very powerful will happen. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is traveling with the secretary.
Vlad, good morning and hello from the Panama Canal. You know, normally about 36 ships pass through the canal each day. In the morning, they head north towards the Atlantic, and in the afternoons, they come here to the southern side, out to the Pacific Ocean. The trip by Secretary of State Rubio comes as President Trump has raised concerns in recent weeks that China's influence over this canal has grown to be too strong, and he has suggested that the United States might need to consider retaking control. On Sunday, Rubio reiterated that warning to the Panamanian government that insists that it has full control of the canal. Billions of dollars in goods pass through this canal every year, everything from clothing to cars. And the 51-mile span, of course, built by the United States, completed in 1913, handed over to the Panamanians in 1999, and they've had full control ever since. But what worries American officials is the fact that one port here on the southern side of the canal is controlled by a Hong Kong-based company, and that a Chinese construction firm is building a new bridge across the canal. The concern American officials have raised is that if at any time the Chinese Communist Party, facing threats from the United States or someone here in the Western Hemisphere, said slow or stop canal traffic, the port and the construction company might have to take steps to oblige to those orders. So the Americans coming back here to reassert influence over the hemisphere. Notably, this is Secretary of State Rubio's first overseas mission as America's top diplomat. He chose to come to the Western Hemisphere, specifically Central America and the Caribbean, to reiterate that the United States is trying to be a partner and perhaps has been a neighbor that has neglected this region amid all the other crises in the world. He's going next to Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, and the Dominican Republic, all countries that have worked with the U.S. on taking back undocumented immigrants through what are called repatriation flights, and that is expected to be much of the focus of Rubio's trip the rest of the week. CBS News has reported, for example, that there's a possible third-party agreement to be signed with El Salvador, where gang members who've been caught in the United States who are immigrants and those seeking asylum might potentially be sent to El Salvador. The asylum seekers could apply for asylum from El Salvador. The gang members may end up in some of that country's notorious prisons. We'll wait and see whether Rubio signs off on that. Notable that the Secretary of State, instead of going to Europe or Asia or visiting other close allies, started his journeys here in Latin America. Vlad?
All right, Ed O'Keefe for us. Thank you, Ed.